Hey, welcome. Welcome to ProSpeak. And you might say, what's ProSpeak? Well, it's for professional speakers, facilitators, authors, workshop leaders, anybody that is at the front of the room speaking, professionally speaking. So if you're a keynote speaker, or if you're a workshop leader like myself and you get to travel, then stay here because this ProSpeak is very important. I didn't realize how important clothes, packing, style, and putting it all together until I met Catherine, who is my guest here tonight. And very soon, that's it. So I'm going to get Catherine to tell you a little bit about herself. And then I've got a list of questions that have been floating around in my mind about all of this stuff. I mean, I learned to pack from my mom, which wasn't so good. But when I was on the road with Redkin, when I was doing regional seminars and traveling all over the US, we had a very different system. We each had a trunk that got packed with all the staging and all the equipment. And in that trunk was, for me, was 2 suits and 5 shirts, complete sets of underwear, and I even put my shoes in it. And I didn't really get to do anything. The dressing or the dresser got to do that. Now that's when I hit the big time with Redken, and I was on the regional and international shows. So, but I still didn't learn. And every now and then I found myself in a situation where I don't know what to wear, what to pack. It takes me half a day and it drives me crazy. So if you're like me and you want a tip at practical strategies and a way to do it, you're in the right place. And I know this is kind of feels like, oh, this is different for professional speakers. But here, looking good, feeling good, and being ready for on stage is important. So that's enough from me. I'm just going to say, well, I am going to talk about my book a little bit as we go on, because I have got a piece about it in here in my book and presentation power. But right now, enough of me. Let's talk.
I was just looking at my bookshelf.
Looking at your bookshelf.
Well, only just because your book is there, I think. Pretty sure it's there.
Catherine, who when I first met her, she was just starting out in this, and boy, I was impressed for someone starting out. So Catherine, tell us about your journey into ICU and what it does.
Well, it's been an interesting journey, Jeffrey. Thanks for having me here again today. I always enjoy coming on your show and chit-chatting with you. You're right. When I first met you, I was actually going through the Seeds Business Development Program, and you came to be a keynote speaker there. And I remember connecting with you afterwards, and we've been in touch ever since then. Like a lot of people, the work that I was doing after I graduated from university, even though I had been trained to do it and had degrees in it, the work that I was doing didn't really feel like me. After doing my degrees in music and education, I was splitting my time between singing professionally. So I sang in Vienna and Vancouver and other places around the world in the opera. And I was teaching in the public school system, so music K-4, which sounds great. And I had sort of dream jobs and tenure and everything else. But everything that I was doing, I often talk about it having very narrow parameters. And I'm not a very good narrow parameter person. So I started to ask questions about, well, if not this, then what? Which I think a lot of people do when they're not entirely satisfied with their work. And I started to think about the qualities that I wanted my work to have, and came up with a good top 5 list. And freedom was at the top of that list. So I got a corporate job. I got out of the jobs that I was doing and ended up doing corporate training at an accounting firm here in Vancouver for a couple of years. And around that, kept coaching and kept asking the question, if not this, then what? And one day I was working with a coach and had this weird vision, and I've never had anything like it since, and I don't know if I ever will have anything like it again. But it was very specific, and it was actually the company name, so ICU Image Consulting, and the first tagline that I ever used, which was intensive care for your image. And I just laughed. I'm like, that's not even a real job. Who does that job? And my coach said, no, it's a real job. You could do it. So I don't know how much the audience that we're speaking to today knows about image consulting, but there's no regulation in our industry. Like anyone out there could say, I'm an image consultant, hang out their shingle and start practicing. And so I did that. I don't recommend that approach to anyone now. But yeah, I started practicing and I went and did my business development program. And then when my contract ended at PricewaterhouseCoopers in 2009, I actually went and said, okay, I need some technical grounding in this art form, science form, if I'm going to do it. And I went to Toronto and did my certificates there in image consulting and advanced image consulting at the Image Institute with a woman named Karen Brunger. And then she liked me, so I interned with her. And then she really liked me. So she made me her Western Canada image trainer. So now, in addition to my private individual consulting practice, I also do corporate work. So I do corporate seminars for companies on all kinds of leadership presence development. And I coach individuals within companies and then do seminar work. And I also teach consultants how to be consultants at Langara. And I do retail training. So for people who are store owners who want their sales associates to be more effective on the floor, I have a program for training them to increase their multi-unit and repeat referral business. So that's kind of it. That's my nutshell.
Wow. Whoa, how did I get you on this show?
You asked me? Oh, it's because I like you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I like you too. As you know, I'm a fan of yours. So,
okay.
Now,
all right.
You know, it's quite the story. I like that story of asking, you know, what's next? What if not this, then what? Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? And I've gone through several career changes myself in ending up here, and I'm getting ready to launch another one in next year. So yeah, like you, I've but anyway, travel.
Yes, travel for speakers. Travel for anyone, but speakers in particular today.
So think of a corporate trainer, somebody who's going out training on behalf of their company, or a keynote speaker that's got 2 or 3 venues to go to, and they're not coming home, so they're going on the road. I call them road warriors. You know, the people who live on the road. One of my
it all sounds so glamorous until you actually start doing it. You're like, wow, I wish I could eat dinner at home.
I remember being asked, how where are you going this week? Is it Los Angeles, Kansas City, Newark, New Jersey, and let me see, back to New York? And everybody went, wow. And what they didn't know is that I saw a lot of airports, a lot of hotels, and many hours in convention rooms or convention centers or training rooms.
Yeah, you're on tour and you're working. So it's not like traveling for fun, but it's still, I mean, for the people that love it, it's still worth it because you get to speak and train people. So that's a good thing. Well, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit grueling for sure.
I love that. I did it for 10 years well, actually I did 13, 14 years with Redken. And then after that, I took a break, and then I did another 10 years with Context, which is a San Francisco educational program. So, you know, now I'm getting ready to kind of do it again. So
fun. And you're wondering what to pack.
Yeah.
Because you panic pack. Jeffrey, just admit it. You panic pack, don't you?
Yep.
Maybe you don't anymore. I don't know. Did you panic pack when you first started?
When I first started, I absolutely panic packed.
Yeah. For those of you that are unfamiliar with panic packing, it's like, oh no, I don't know what to wear. Okay, I might need this. Okay, I might need this. I might need this. I might need this. And pretty soon you end up with over 50 pounds of luggage or 50 kilos of luggage, and you don't even wear 2/3 of it. That's panic packing. Oh my God, what am I going to bring? Toss it all in the suitcase and hope for the best.
Well, I every now and then I would do the reverse. I only need this. I only need that. And then I would get there.
And you'd be stuck.
Shopping. That's the other form of panic packing.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, when I get there, I'll buy it.
Right. That doesn't always work. So I think it's good if you're traveling a lot to, first of all, understand your venue. Know where it is that you're speaking, know who your audience is, and know the conditions under which you will be speaking. Because it's very different to be doing a small, intimate seminar at a fishing retreat, right, Jeffrey?
Yes.
Ask him that story sometime if you're curious. Email him, hey, Jeffrey, what about the fishing retreat? Right? That's a very different situation than giving a keynote to 1,500 corporate people from a large company. So it's really important to understand the industry that you're going into. What is the purpose of your speech? What are you doing? Are you going to be there for more than one day? Those kinds of things. Because if you're on tour and you're doing a single keynote in multiple different places and you're not seeing the same people, you can get away with a lot less luggage. If you're going on a keynote tour and you're then doing a series of workshops, like let's say you're doing a 3-day workshop with the same people, then you need to have a little bit more mix and match facility. If you're doing a large set of keynotes and you're going sort of 5 days in a row, then you could get away with 1 or 2 outfits and then just make sure that you have good cleaning service around in case you need to refresh something. But if you're doing a 3-day workshop, then you're going to need more than one thing. So there are a couple of easy formulas for figuring out what to pack. Do you want me to talk about those?
So you threw out a word there, a little phrase, and you just kind of rolled off your tongue there. You said, and you can mix and match.
Yeah.
So as a guy, what does that mean? I mean, I know that well, I'm assuming that everybody understands mix and match, or mix and match, or they don't. So tell me about it.
Right. Okay, well, so there's a couple of different things that happen when people plan their outfits. There are some people, I have some clients who like to purchase outfits. So they literally have in their closet, they've got their outfit for Monday and their outfit for Tuesday, complete with accessories. So if for a guy, for example, it's suit, and then you wear a second suit, so you have your 5 or 10 suits that you wear Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you just keep rotating through those suits. But when you're traveling, so if you have a lot of closet space, it's fine to do that, and you have all your accessories and your tie and your shoes and whatever you're going to wear with it all packed together. But when you're traveling, you just don't necessarily have that luxury of space, particularly not now with the check bag rules and fees and extra things like that for checked luggage. So when I'm thinking about mix and match, what I'm thinking about are situations where, let's say as a speaker, you've got a couple of sport coats and a couple of pairs of pants, and then you've got 3 or 4 shirts, and everything is friends. They all play nicely together, meaning the patterns and the lines and the colors and everything go well together. Essentially, it's a formula for getting dressed in the dark, which can be actually quite helpful if you're getting up early. So if you're going on a, if you're going on a 5-day tour, instead of taking 5 suits with you, let's say you're doing a corporate gig and you need to be in a suited sort of environment. If you are doing a corporate thing, you can take 2 suits with you with your 5 shirts. And then depending on how well the suits play together, you could actually wear the suit, and then you could wear the jacket of one with the pants of the other, jacket of one with the pants of the other, and then different ties, a couple pairs of shoes and a couple belts, and you get a lot more mileage out of a small set of clothing rather than packing 5 entire suits with 5 entire shirts and all the different things.
This phrase, play together. Do they go to kindergarten?
Yeah. That's right. They're all dancing around in the closet, having a party, drinking tea. No. When I say they play nicely together, what I mean is the colors are similar. So for example, if you've got a navy and a gray, those generally go nicely. They play nicely together. If you have a pinstripe suit and then you've got another chalk stripe suit, maybe not so much. Or if you've got, Glen check and a houndstooth, you got to be a little bit careful about how you're putting things together. But if you're new to this, then what I recommend is just starting with solid colors first. And if you want to wear, say for example, you have a pair of black pants and a pair of gray pants, and then you've got a gray sport coat and a black sport coat, and then shirts that go with that and ties that go with that, it's not going to be very hard to put the things together. Don't try to go too crazy when you're starting out. Otherwise, you're just going to be frustrated.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, do you pack spares?
Well, yeah. So if you are planning to go for a while and you're not sure, what I recommend is to wear 1 and pack 2. So what that looks like is, so for one of my speakers, for example, he does keynotes on a book that he wrote, and his look is a little bit smart casual. So he's not a suited guy, but he will wear one of his sport coats, one of his custom shirts, one pair of his fancy jeans, and one pair of his cool shoes, and his cufflinks. He doesn't wear a tie. And then what he'll do is in his carry-on, which is the Sky Roll, which I highly recommend. Those are great for packing. They're not very heavy, and they have separate shoe compartments, and they're essentially a garment bag that rolls up, so it's not bulky or difficult to carry. So what he'll do is he'll pack another sport coat, another shirt, another pair of fancy jeans, another pair of funky shoes, all the other stuff that he needs, and his toiletries and his spare batteries and his power cords and things like that in the Sky Roll, and carry it on. And then whatever he needs to check, he'll check another set of clothing there. So he usually goes with 3 sets of clothing, and his tours are usually not that long. Like he'll go for 4 or 5 days. Do it. The last time he released his book, he was doing a TV appearances. So he didn't need to pack as many clothes. But basically, wear 1, pack 2 would be the rule that I would generally follow. And if you go through 3 sets of clothing, something happens to your carry-on and to your check luggage and to the clothing you're wearing, then you have bigger problems than just packing your clothes.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of trouble with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I suppose it could happen, but I've never seen it happen.
Yeah, Sky Roll. Okay, that's something I got to look for.
Skyroll.com. And they actually have a small roll, and then they have a carry-on case where the garment bag wraps around, and then they have a bigger checked luggage piece as well. So those ones are all quite good. It's very streamlined traveling.
Now, you gave me some great advice as a man, and what I'm glad to see is that there are a lot of female speakers, right? And it's always for me so exciting, and I think it's good, and I've been encouraging it for years. So sort of, okay, there are women here who have lots of skill and lots of ability, and finally, I mean, people like Cheryl Cran and such, they have really a great style. But if somebody's starting out, what do they need to think about? Because I do
specifically for women starting out?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in general, there's a couple of principles that are helpful for men and women both. Although it is a little bit trickier sometimes as a woman to decide what's going to work, because women are penalized on both sides. If they're not attractive enough, people don't take them seriously. If they're too attractive, people don't take them seriously. So unfortunately, there is still a certain amount of gender bias that women need to cope with that men don't necessarily have to cope with. Men have to work a lot harder to not be seen as credible, and women have to work twice as hard to be seen as credible. So in terms of making choices on what to wear, one of the biggest things for everyone is fit and color and style choice. So if you make sure that everything you wear fits and that you're well groomed, that's going to go a long way to showing your credibility. One thing that's super important for women is to check things like sight lines. So for example, if you're a woman and you are giving an interview on a dais, and let's say the audience is 3 feet below you, then you probably don't want to wear a skirt that's above your knees, because their sight line is going to be directly at your knee level, and that may not be to your advantage. I've seen that mistake a lot with professional female speakers, is that they wear a skirt that's actually a little bit too short. And so you got to watch to make sure that where your audience is looking is where you want them to look and not where you don't want them to look. The other thing that I've seen some professional speakers do is also when there's a raised stage, their shoes are scuffed. So when you meet somebody, they might not see your shoes, but when they're directly at your eye level and they see your scuffed shoes, they're not going to be thinking about what you have to say. They're going to be thinking about, wow, why didn't you take the time to polish your shoes before you started speaking?
That's actually one of my pet peeves. I saw a very good speaker not long ago here in Victoria, and his shoes were scuffed and looked like the kind of shoes that you would wear on a walk with your dog, or maybe a stroll downtown, not necessarily at a $125 ticket event.
No, and the most interesting thing is that even though we all say don't judge a book by its cover, biologically we're still wired to do that. So we're actually looking at someone's credibility and judging it based on what we actually see. And one of the biggest appearance blunders that people make regarding their leadership presence is not being well groomed. And the sad thing about that is it's something you can control. You can't control whether or not you're tall, you know, 6 feet tall or whatever. If you're tall, of course, you have a leadership advantage automatically because people look to tall people to be leaders. So those of us that are short need to be extra charming. But if you can control, if you have some control over something like your grooming, then why wouldn't you pay attention to that? And taking care of your appearance is part of that. So in your travel kit, aside from packing things that fit and flatter you, also thinking about how things look on stage versus, so say for example, if you're going to be on a camera, then you need to think about how high contrast your clothing is. So if you're going to wear a really dark jacket and a really white shirt, the contrast is going to be might be really great for the stage lights, but if there's a video feed picking you up and putting you on the big screen, it's going to be too bright. So it's important to, again, understand your venue and then pack the right amount of clothing. And before you even do that, make sure that whatever you choose fits you and looks good on you and isn't wearing you. I've seen some speakers come up with things like, say for example, their gimmick for guys is a funky tie. Well, okay, when people meet you in a room and they see you, that works, but it doesn't necessarily work on camera. I've seen women have, you know, really cool shoes be their trademark, but you really want people looking at your shoes? I'm not too sure, unless you're going to talk about them directly. Maybe your whole presentation is about cool shoes. I don't know. But if you have a gimmick, be careful that your gimmick is not overriding what you actually have to say.
Well, actually, I got caught in one that you just mentioned recently, where I was speaking at a convention, and I had a dark suit, black with a black stripe in it, and very, very nice, and it showed lots of detail when you're up close, and the camera didn't show any detail, but I wore underneath it quite a bright shirt. Not realizing when I saw the video that all you could see,
all you can see is the shirt.
And
yeah,
I had
totally.
If I had worn a paler shirt, an off-white or a blue shirt, the contrast. And I don't wear ties anymore. But I have a lovely collection of ties, but I don't wear them anymore.
Yeah.
It's But something I've done for years, I'd like your opinion on it. When I'm doing when I'm out on stage, I wear red socks. I just like the red socks because my pants don't, you know, cover them up. Most people are not going to see them. It's just an energy thing for me.
Sure.
Wearing bright red socks. I mean, they're just fun.
Yes, it's okay to have fun.
When I feel like I'm ready, you know, it's kind of part of my ritual of getting ready to do the presentation.
Well, it depends on whether or not people perceive it to be a deliberate choice or not. If they perceive that it's a deliberate choice and you've reached a certain pinnacle of respect, then it's not going to be a big deal. If people think you made a mistake, like say, for example, I think red socks are a slightly different choice than white tennis socks, you know. Yeah. That's different. Red, it shows that it's more of a deliberate choice. So I'd say if it works for you, knock yourself out, go for it. If you find it's distracting people, if you notice people looking at your feet or looking at your socks, then you might want to rethink it. But I mean, in terms of, we were talking about a little bit about packing for travel too, aside from choosing the right things in the first place, looking at packing and grooming and taking care of the details of your appearance before you get on stage. One of the things that I was thinking about when you asked me is, you know, what should people pack aside from panic packing? Also having emergency supplies on hand. Things like stain removers, things like a sewing kit, double-sided tape. It can be clothing tape. You can get that at specialty stores, or you can go to Staples and get yourself a $1.99 roll of Scotch double-sided tape to take care of a hem that's coming down, or take care of maybe for women, if there's underwear where it's showing where it shouldn't be showing. You can throw some double-sided tape on your bra strap and stick your top to it so that when you're moving around, your underwear isn't showing. Things like having a little bit of cornstarch in a container. Let's say, for example, you're going out for lunch right beforehand and you get some salad dressing on your outfit. A little bit of cornstarch on the stain right away will actually help blot it, will help remove it. So it'll soak up the oil, and then you can usually just brush off the cornstarch and be clean and tidy again. So aside from packing spares, it's good to have a little kit of things that can help repair your clothing if something goes wrong.
Now, as we're coming towards the close, how do people get a hold of you? What's your web address? Say it nice and clear.
So now, if my lower third was on, you would see it. It wasn't working today. Thanks, Google Hangouts. All right. My website is icuimage.com. So just the letters icuimage.com, and you'll find me there. And if you want some help, just click Help Me and get started, and you will come to me that way. You can also email me, Catherine, Katherine, at icuimage.com if you'd like a little help with your speaking packing.
Yeah, and there's a great video there of you talking about some of these things, and some blog entries and different pieces of information. So I think,
and you can also, sorry, go ahead.
No, carry on.
I was going to say, there's also, you can catch me on LinkedIn. Also, ICU Image Consulting has a Facebook page where we post a great deal of content as well. So you're more than welcome to check us out on any of our social media channels.
Good stuff. Catherine, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
As usual, informative, charming, and intelligent. Why I always like you on the show. And may I ask you to come back again at a different time when, maybe what we can do is take a progression of someone just through slides or something like that. We can take a progression of someone through the different stages, and we can show people the differences, or you can. I can't. I don't know the difference, but you do.
No, that might be fun. We could do a joint project.
I used to be a real clothes horse, but I'm not as much. I'm rather like your other speaker friend. I like to, I've got some very expensive jeans. In fact, some of my jeans are more expensive than the slacks, which is hilarious. And, you know, casual and button shirts, light shirts. So anyway, we get, I'm traipsing into the romance of clothes here because I love clothes and I love people and I love style. And thank you very much on behalf of everyone. And I look forward to inviting you back again. And we'll show maybe some before and afters. I think that would be fun.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Say goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Jeffrey.